China's presence in Africa has been a subject of global concern, with many people arguing that China is colonizing Africa. China has invested heavily in African countries, providing them with infrastructure and economic support. However, some argue that this support is a form of neocolonialism, where China seeks to exploit African countries for its economic and strategic interests. This essay will explore the ways in which China is colonizing Africa and the impact on African countries. One of the primary ways in which China is colonizing Africa is through economic support. China has invested heavily in African countries, providing them with loans and infrastructure support. However, these loans often come with strings attached, such as preferential treatment for Chinese companies, which can result in African countries becoming economically dependent on China. In some cases, African countries have had to surrender control of their natural resources to Chinese companies in exchange for economic support. Another way in which China is colonizing Africa is through the establishment of Chinese-owned businesses in African countries. Chinese companies have established businesses in various sectors, including mining, construction, and manufacturing. However, these companies often bring in Chinese workers instead of employing local workers, which can result in local unemployment and limited economic benefits for African countries. China's colonization of Africa has also been facilitated by its strategic interests. China has established military bases in several African countries, which has led to concerns about China's long-term intentions in the region. Some people argue that China's military presence in Africa is a form of neocolonialism, where China seeks to exert its influence and control over African countries. The impact of China's colonization of Africa has been significant. African countries that have become economically dependent on China have found it difficult to break free from China's influence. China's colonization of Africa has also led to concerns about the exploitation of African natural resources and the limited benefits for local communities. In conclusion, China's colonization of Africa has become a matter of global concern. China's economic support, the establishment of Chinese-owned businesses, and its military presence in Africa have been described as a form of neocolonialism. The impact on African countries has been significant, with concerns about economic exploitation and limited benefits for local communities. The international community has called for greater transparency and accountability in China's engagement with African countries to ensure that it benefits African countries as much as it does China.